Welcome back, everyone. Today we will be making the cauliflower gratin with sage chicken steak. So what you want to do is, using a deep pot, go ahead and pour in the heavy cream and bring that cream to a simmer. The pot was already hot when I poured the cream in, so it's just a matter of seconds for this heavy cream to simmer up. Just go ahead and stir it a little bit so that it doesn't coat the bottom of the pot. At this point, you want to add all the ingredients in at once to the cream once it's simmered. And as you can see, I'm adding a touch of salt and now black pepper. I love to use nutmeg that is fresh, so I'm going to grate a fresh nutmeg rather than the one that you already bought from the store that it's pre-grounded like this one. Okay, so I have here minced garlic that I'm also going to be putting into the simmer heavy cream, followed by some diced onions. And then you want to stir it a little just to make sure that all the seasonings you add in, it's incorporated with the cream, followed by the butter. It's room temperature, so it should melt and blend in with the heavy cream quickly. Now I'm going to add in the cauliflower, which I already cut down to bite size and washed, of course. At this point, you want to make sure that the heavy cream coats the cauliflowers. And once that's coating and covering the cauliflower, just go ahead and cover with the lid for about 2 to 3 minutes. Then remove the lid and check to assure that the cauliflower is slightly tender. Okay, once the cauliflower looks tender, you want to turn off the heat. But at this point, I decided to add a little bit more heavy cream to assure the cooking process of the cauliflower, just so that it coats the cauliflower. So you want to use a spoon as to spoon the cauliflower mixture over to a baking tray, and then add the remaining cream from the pot to the cauliflower baking tray. So after that's in the baking tray, drizzle with Parmesan cheese on the top and bake it in the oven at 350 degrees for approximately 20 minutes. Okay, so meanwhile, you want to debone the chicken thigh, and you may use a knife, but I recommend to use a scissor because it makes your life so much easier to debone, and it saves so much more time, by the way. So as you can see here, this is how I debone the chicken thigh, and by just going straight to where the bone is, aligning my scissor to exactly where the bone is, and then go around the edge, cut through the tender part of the bone, and then just straight down. And this takes me like less than, I would say, 2 minutes per chicken thigh. That's the reason why I recommend using a scissor. But of course, you want to make sure your scissor is nice and sharp. Just don't cut yourself though, please. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm done with my first chicken thigh. It's just like a nice chicken steak here. What I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna puncture a little bit, give it a little incision here and there. This way it assures that the thickness is even for the cooking process, as well as the seasoning marinating into the chicken to give it more of a flavor and more bold. So voila, I am done with my first one. I have here 4 servings for chicken thigh that it's deboned, and this is a fresh sage leaf that I just picked from the garden. Oh, I love my herb gardens. Okay, so I'm gonna drizzle some salt over the chicken thigh that I have just recently deboned, and then from here I'm gonna I'm gonna drizzle some garlic powder. Instead of using fresh garlic powder will do. And then I'm gonna just go ahead and cut some of the sage leaves into this chicken thigh and just pat it down. Now, last but not least, I'm gonna sprinkle some I believe it's potato starch to coat the chicken on both sides, of course. You may add black peppers to this later. And I want to make sure that the chicken thigh is coat it on both sides with potato starch to assure the crispiness when you deep fry it later. So I'm adding some black pepper as well. Okay, so in a frying pan, add about 1 to 2 cups of oil and bring the temperature up to 350 or about 350 to 375 degrees for deep frying the chicken thigh. Gently lay the chicken into the oil one by one with the skin side down. Check to see if the chicken skin is golden brown or crispy before you flip the chicken. Give it about 3 to 4 minutes per side depending on how thick it is. Rest the chicken steak on a plate to serve with the cauliflower gratin. And this is what it looks like out of the oven. Dinner is served. This looks so delicious. I hope you enjoy this dish and this recipe, and don't forget to like and subscribe below.